Hey, Kayla, we're going live any second now. Who do you want to do a shout out to?
Hey, I want to do a shout out to my boss and mentor, Jen Page. I would not be where I am without her. She has taught me so much. And yeah, she's
Awesome.
wonderful.
I love that.
Oh,
Jen
yeah.
Page, here we go. Hey, everybody. We are back again today with the amazing Kayla Marie Coates, a non binary Mexican-Croatian-American actor, filmmaker, and activist. Kayla's worked with prestigious companies such as South by Southwest. I so want to go this year. Universal Studios, Blackmagic Design, Sigma, and Blackmagic Collective. And they started their own podcast at the beginning of 2022. That is a fascinating story. Today, Kayla will be opening up about anxiety and depression and how to turn your struggles into a superpower. We'll be talking with Kayla and discussing the challenges and experiences related to living with these mental health issues and how to find strength in them. Kayla, I am excited that you are here.
I'm excited to be here.
Well,
Yeah,
let's just jump right in because this
sure.
is a
Let's do it.
fascinating thing. Like, what kind of impact and anxiety have you had with anxiety and depression, and what have they had as an effect in your life?
Totally. I started dealing with mental health issues very young. I was in early middle school when I first started getting all of these things started coming up for me. I was having a lot more depressive symptoms at first, and I didn't think anything of the anxiety. And when I first started feeling all of these things, I was like, no, 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 it can't be depression. It's like other people have it worse, and kept putting that thought in my head. And then one day I went on WebMD or
Mhm.
Googled what is depression and like all that stuff. I'm 12 or I think at the time. And I ended up checking yes to like every single thing that was on there. And it was
Mhm.
a list of, I think, like 20 symptoms. And I was like, oh, maybe I am depressed. And I just had
Ah.
no, you know, passion for the things that I used to have passion for. I was like avoiding everything. I was distancing myself from everyone and having some suicidal thoughts, and not that I was going to act on those, but I was harming myself, and there was just a lot of different things. But I think that the way that, I mean, our society has changed a lot, especially in the past, oh gosh, what is it? 10, 11, 12 years.
Right.
And people are much more open about talking about mental health and different things that people struggle with. But even back then and even still today, I think that we can put it in our heads that like, oh, well, I can't have this thing because other people have it worse. But that's not true,
Mhm.
because your feelings are valid, your mental health is valid, and what you are going through is real. And after I did that, little survey of myself, I went straight to my mom and I was like, hey, mom, I think I'm depressed. Look at what I did. And so she set up an appointment with a therapist. And then I went there and started doing therapy. I think it was like every week or every other week. And he diagnosed me with depression and anxiety. And that was where it first all started.
So I want to get this cleared up, and I want you to talk about this with people.
Yeah.
What is the difference between somebody who's just having a bad day and someone
Hmm.
who's depressed? Because a lot of times people will go to work and their boss will be like, "Oh, you're just having a bad day. Just suck it up, get over it. Let's do this." What is the
Right.
difference between that and, like, I guess, clinical depression?
Sure. Well, first off, I want to say I have no degree in medicine or anything
Right.
like that. I am no doctor or psychiatrist or therapist, but I'm just speaking from experience and self research that I've done. I like to do a lot of research into these things. I also have ADHD, and I've done a lot of extensive research into that as well. But in terms of the difference between whether you're just having a bad day or whether you are like depressed, I would say is that if you are everybody reaches low levels of their lives where they feel
Mhm.
awful and are having like really deep depressive moments. But if you're really depressed, then you might be lying in bed and literally can't get out of bed for days on end, or you are avoiding everything for it's think of it more like it's more long term. It's not just one day or a couple days. It's longer. And there are different forms of depression too. There's psychotic depressive disorder. There is which is similar-ish to, I think, bipolar. I would do more research on that. But there's like mild depression. There is dysthymia, which is like a low grade of depression that has been constant for at least 2 years or more, which my therapist now says she thinks I have. Because that can be like, you're never, I shouldn't say you're never, but you can be happy and you can be like on and with people and be genuinely happy in moments, but like sometimes, or more often than not, when you're alone or just not with other people, you're not feeding off of other people's energy, whatever it is, you're just at this like less than content level. And it's nothing super crazy. You're not in the deep depths of the trenches, but you aren't happy, so to speak.
You've done a lot of like amazing things in your life, like the companies that you've worked with
Thank
and
you.
the things that you've done, like just the things I listed up in the bio, and that's not even all. Um, how do you go through with it? And like being depressed, how do you just make it through your day? What's the secret? Or
Yeah, depression, it's so funny because I thought I beat depression back in like after in high school, after my freshman year. I was doing things and I was happy and I was in a great place. I immersed myself completely into theater and into that environment, and I was constantly surrounded by people, and I just didn't stop, and I was continuously going. And I think that part of me continuously throwing myself into work and into my passions is what helped bring me out of those depressive episodes. And I think that it's um I'm losing my train of thought, but it's
it's a lot, right? I mean,
yeah,
just
I lost
thinking
my train of
about
thought.
these
Yeah,
things.
it is a lot.
What do you think? How do you turned your depression into a superpower, right? Like for me, my
Yeah.
biggest thing is I don't think I'm depressed, but like I forget movies. So my superpower is I forget them and I get to like do them again and watch them for the first time. Your
Oh, I love
superpower is
that.
you turned your depression into a superpower. Like what does that look like? How did you do that?
Yeah. So I very much still struggle with depression and anxiety and ADHD, and there are so many different struggles that come with these things, the mental health and the neurological brain disorder and things like that. But the way that I find the superpowers in each of those things is with my depression, I can now relate to other people who have felt the same things, and I can try to help them. And I'm also a writer, and I can put the pain and the struggles that I've experienced into my work. And I'm also an actor. And so I can put the pain and the struggles into my acting. And in a way, I think that that's what really dove me into acting full force when I got back into high school, because I grew up doing theater. And then I switched to public school and they didn't have much opportunity for that. And then when I got to high school, still public, but they had a theater
Mhm.
department. And I dove into acting because I'm like, I get to be another person and live another person's life for 2-3 hours at a time. And I also in turn get to help other people escape their lives from whatever struggles or whatever problems are in their world and help them be entertained.
Mhm.
And I can put the pain that I feel, not necessarily substitution in acting, because that can be a little dangerous if you can't pull yourself back out or whatever it is. But I can still put the pain that I feel and use acting as an outlet. And so I can get my crying out through acting.
Okay.
And then it doesn't feel as hard when I'm doing it, just crying in my day, but if that makes
Actually,
sense.
that's good. I
Does that make,
remember,
yeah, I don't know.
studying, like, Thomas Pynchon, right? And he said, basically I'm gonna mess up this whole quote thing, so I'm not even gonna quote, I'm just gonna say basically he says, first of all, you can't really know anything until you're over 40. I'm not sure that's true. But then as far as being able to express something in a story that you've never, done is, like,
Mm,
hard to do. Matter of fact, And
Mhm.
so do you find that it actually helps you with your acting and that you can
Yeah,
go into that deep place and make things real? Do you
most
also feel like
definitely. And go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, do you also feel like you're an empath, so you know when other people are going through these things and you can help them?
Yeah, 100%. At a very when I first started, it's so funny. When I first started getting depressed and realizing what I had, and another thing with that is that depression and anxiety and mental health can be hereditary. It's not just
Mm,
environmental. While yes, it very much can be environmental, it can also be hereditary. And that's how I originally got it. There's been a lot of mental health in my family on both sides of my family. So I was uh for all extensive purposes doomed in a sense. But again, just putting a little bit of comedy on it. But no, that's the importance of finding the superpowers in it. But remind me of the question that you asked me. So sorry.
I wanna know if you actually can be empathetic with people and now that you
Yeah.
actually understand these things.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah. No, I remember where I'm going now. So yeah, when I first started getting depressed, what I really wanted to do, even though I was in such a deep place, is I wanted to be able to help other people. I've always felt the urge to help other people and had that deep desire. And I wanted to become a therapist so that I could help other people so that they don't feel the way that I felt, because I've experienced so much pain and trauma and not fun events in my life.
Mhm.
And my current therapist tells me all the time, she's like, wow, you've lived so many lives, Kayla. You've experienced so much more pain than a lot of my patients. And she has seen a lot of older patients for the most part. And so I just want to help other people feel, I want to spread more positivity and joy as much as I can, which is what I started my YouTube channel with, and talking about and destigmatizing taboo topics and that kind of stuff to help normalize things like mental health and like ADHD. And I also have PTSD as well, and like PTSD and other social issues. I wouldn't say issues per se, but like
Uh-huh.
LGBTQ plus. I'm also pansexual. I'm non-binary. I'm also polyamorous. Like all these things. I'm such the black sheep of my family, which is so funny because I come from a very, very conservative household,
Uh-huh.
and with a lot of boys. And it's ironic because my parents really wanted a girl, and then I'm second to last out of 7 kids, and I'm non-binary. But so I find that a little funny. But yeah, I think that being able to relate my feelings to others has been a huge benefactor in the route that I've taken in my life and where I'm at now and where I want to go. And like I said, I've always wanted to help other people and make a change in this world some way, somehow. I know that's cliche, but I do.
It is,
And I
it's
think that the more
actually
people
really
that
good.
do,
Yeah,
yeah, the more people that want to make a change, the better chance we have of actually making a change.
yeah.
But as I've grown and, come into myself and discovered the things that I want to do in this life, while I'm still on this plane in this particular life, that I can do that through my filmmaking, and I can reach broader audiences and wider audiences through the films that I'm making and the projects that I'm participating in. And I say films a lot, but I want to go more into TV. I've just always, when I've talked about it, I've always said films, and now I'm realizing, oh, well, TV as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's
So
kind of
do this
how
for
I
me.
relate that.
Do
Mhm.
this. There are people who are watching, they're going like, "Oh, wow, I'm really relating with Kayla, and I'm depressed, or at least I think I'm depressed." Not me, but give them some tips to get out of their depression. Of course, there's going to see a
Yeah.
therapist. You're not a therapist, but what are things that people can do that you've really experienced and you go like, "This helps."
Mhm. There is this, I think the first thing is understanding what's happening to you. and understanding and really pinpointing what you're feeling. There's a channel that I like to watch, which this is more for ADHD, but Jessica McCabe, she shares so many amazing tips and tricks, not which I think help for a lot of different mental health and not just ADHD.
Mhm.
So I would really recommend checking out How to ADHD. But she talks about this in one of her videos, finding a emotion wheel, I think is what it's called. Where you can, it's more than just like happy, sad, angry, disgusted, whatever, but it's specific things that you are feeling so that you can pinpoint what it is. You can identify it. Your brain can be like, oh, okay, this is actually what I'm feeling. Because I personally struggle, and a lot of people with ADHD struggle with really expressing particularly what they're feeling. And if we do
Mhm.
express it, sometimes we aren't expressing it the way that we want to, or in the correct way that we feel. Is the actual thing that we're feeling. So I think doing that, and also understanding, um, there's a not a metaphor, but there's like a I forget what it's called, but this thing that is called, like, I think the spoon theory, where
Okay.
everybody has a select amount of spoons. Like, let's say everybody has, or a person with depression has 12 spoons in a day. You
Okay.
can only give um you know, 3 spoons. You only have actually 3 spoons for the day. Everybody else normally has 12. Some tasks take more spoons than others, like maybe getting out of bed is 1 spoon, or washing the dishes, that's like 2 spoons, or like going out of the house, that's like 4 spoons. So you
That's a
have
lot of
to use
things.
your spoons. Yeah, you have to use your spoons selectively. And helping, equipping you with things like that, so that you can explain it to other people so that they can kind of understand what you're going through. Because
Yeah.
when you're in that place, you feel like nobody understands what you're going through. You can feel like um, that nobody sees you, that nobody's there for you, that nobody loves you, which is completely untrue and inaccurate. It's the voices in your head that are telling you that, and your brain is just wired in this way that is making you think that, and your thoughts are spiraling and you're ruminating.
Mhm.
And what you, even when you're feeling that way, just know that there are people around you. And what I like to do is I like to have a list on my phone, that says, "You did that, bitch," and just list of like compliments and things that I've done and accomplishments, things that other people have said. I have like one section where it's like things that other people have said that are great about me, and just another list of like accomplishments that I've had. And this isn't something that I share publicly. It's literally just for myself. And so it doesn't have to be anything like big or massive. Like, it could just literally be like, oh, you gave a houseless neighbor a granola bar and a water bottle. Like, that could
Those
be
are
on
all
your
good
list, you
things, right?
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It
should
could
just read
be,
off
oh, I
that
gave
list that I
somebody.
gave you at the very beginning, because that was an amazing list. But I mean, you could just say, "I showed up today for the show," and that's an amazing thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Or I brushed my teeth today, because
Yeah.
especially with people with depression, anxiety, ADHD, are, different, I'm forgetting the word, but like brushing your teeth, putting on deodorant, showering.
Uh-huh.
Showering is another thing that can take more spoons. Everything takes a specific amount of spoons. So it's like, how am I going to use my spoons today? And just reminding yourself that there are people around you. You can put sticky notes around your room, whatever it is, saying like, you are beautiful, you've got this, you're climbing this wall of awful.
Yep.
And you can do this. You've done this before. You can do it again. You have people around you that love you, different things. What I also like to do is I follow what I do on Instagram, which I don't really go on Instagram much anymore. I try to stay off of it. But when I
Mhm.
do, I follow a bunch of different mental health and inspirational accounts. And there's so many different ones that you can find. I forget the names of some of them. There's like, BetterHelp is coming into my head because I was watching earlier a video
BetterHelp is
that
cool. Yeah.
BetterHelp is cool, which is also a great
Yeah.
resource for therapy, because you can get it on your phone, on your computer,
Yep.
whatever it is, and anywhere I think in the world, or maybe not anywhere, but a lot of different places around the world. And you can change therapists for free and stuff if they're not the right match for you. But anyway, yeah. But there are accounts that will do inspirational things, that'll give advice. I follow different like therapist accounts, and I try to surround my feed instead of just a bunch of BS or, empty stuff on there. I try to, fill it with things that will help me and
That'll help
things
for
that I
sure.
could share with others. And then I'll save those. And when I'm feeling in a mood or I'm feeling a depressive episode coming on, or I'm in a rut and my executive function for my ADHD is just completely just shot, that I'll go on there and I'll start writing sticky notes from the things that I've saved, and I'll flip through them and be like, okay, what resonates with me today? What resonates with me right now? What's going to help motivate me? And then also, if you're having trouble doing like with habits, especially people with ADHD, I have so bad with trying to establish habits. I've done so many different tips and tricks that I've learned off of the How to ADHD page and just other research, and trying to keep calendars, different types of journals, all that stuff. There are like habit trackers that you can create. There are, I am starting this thing where I'm getting like these, people use them for like hair ties now, but they used to hold like keychains and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But you get that, and then you get like these little tags. They're in the other room, but and you write down specific like 4 habits for the morning, 4 habits for like the midday, 4 habits for like the afternoon, 4 habits for the evening that you want to do, and things that like follow after the other. And so you start off with the 4 in the morning, you put those on your wrist, and then you can't take them off until you've done those things. So if you don't do those things, and
Oh,
they're going to
that
be
is
rattling
awesome.
around on your wrist,
Right. It's like,
and you're like, oh
crap,
crap,
what
I
do I
want to get
do?
that off. So I guess I got to do this, So I'm
That is
excited
a
to try that.
that is actually really cool. I'm gonna try that, and I'm
Yeah,
not depressed about
I'm
anything
gonna try
yet.
that. Yeah. No,
So
I'm excited to try that, but right now I have to wait because I had foot surgery, so I can't really do much right now. So I have to be off my feet. But after I recover from foot surgery, then I'm excited to start those things.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love this discussion that we're having. I love listening to what you're saying. I want to do something
me
with you I've
too.
never done with anyone on the show.
Okay,
I
let's
want
do
people to
it.
know you on not just your the things we talked about on the show. Let's do something super fun. We're gonna play a game for a second. We're
Mm,
gonna do something called this or that. All you gotta do is just tell me which one of these you would rather. Okay, this or that. So
okay,
let
yeah,
me start
I'm
with.
into it.
Let's try it. Would you rather create fire or
And
control
really
water?
quick, wait, sorry, I didn't hear your question, but am I just doing it like not thinking, just going?
You're not thinking, you're just going. You're just
All right,
going.
let's do it. It's so
Here
funny.
we go.
I just did this game with my partner when we were trying to pick a movie. I closed my eyes and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna ask things." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna answer and not even think about it." And that's how he's gonna choose a
You're
movie.
not gonna think about it because now people are gonna go like, "Oh, so that's Kayla in a nutshell." Ready? Here we go. I
All
got 10
right.
of them for you. Okay,
Okay,
so
I'm gonna
create
close my
fire or
eyes.
control water?
Ooh, control water.
Read minds or control time?
Read minds.
Really? Invisibility or
I know. I
teleportation?
didn't think that was gonna be it. Sorry, say that one more time.
I said invisibility or teleportation?
Teleportation.
Okay. Fly or be super strong?
Fly.
Super speed or super intelligence?
Intelligence.
Okay. Super hearing or supervision?
Vision.
Ability to control emotions or the ability to control elements?
Elements.
Okay. Control animals or control plants?
Animals. Ooh, I don't
Yeah.
know. I
That
guess I
just
said
popped out right
animals.
there, didn't it? Yeah.
Wow, yeah, I guess it did. I
Yeah,
didn't think
become
that
a
was gonna be
super
the other answer.
right? It just comes to you.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, no, I didn't think that the plants was gonna I think I answered before you even finished. So I was like, "Oh, I answered too fast." That's okay, though.
I know. Good.
Both are
Okay.
good.
How about become a superhero or a supervillain?
Villain.
That's good. Villains can be fun.
I think it's
Everybody
more fun. Yeah.
yeah. Did you ever see The Boys on, what is it,
Oh,
Netflix, I
yeah.
think? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I loved the first season, then I had to stop watching it because I had a really bad car accident, and, my friend died in it, and I was driving, and that's where my PTSD comes from, and I had to stop watching the second season because it was too gory for me. Yeah. Uh-oh, what just happened? Oh, no. I think you're muted.
how about that?
Oh,
How about
wow. You're back.
time time travel or shapeshift?
Time travel.
Absolutely. Time travel is all about the cool,
Yeah.
fun stuff. People need to stay
Yeah.
in touch with you, and you are doing some amazing projects. I love what you're doing with the
Thanks.
Captain Ron project. Here's how people can get in touch with you on your website. You've got Kayla Marie Coates. I love that. It's easy. Instagram and TikTok at Kayla Marie Coates. Then, of course, we've got
Yeah.
YouTube, Positively Kayla Marie. And we didn't talk about this, but I think once you get this edited and you've got it up and going, I want to get into your podcast and be
Oh,
a
there's already
avid watcher listener.
yeah. There's already, I think, 6 episodes out, and then I have, like, 6 more that are in the can, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're all filmed. I just need to edit the other 6 and release them and things like that. But
Real
yeah.
quick, tell people what this podcast is about.
Sure. So I started this podcast with my grandfather, who is suffering from a terminal lung disease, and I got this idea a month after he was diagnosed. And I was inspired by Tuesdays with Maury. How I don't if anybody doesn't know
Mhm.
the book, it's where this alumni, I believe, student goes and visits his professor who is passing away from ALS, which I first read in high school when my stepfather is passing away from ALS. So it's inspired me
Mhm.
twice in my life. Great book. You should all read it. But yeah, he would go every Tuesday and have discussions with the old philosophy professor
Yeah.
as the philosophy professor was passing away and all the way up until his death. And so I was like, oh, this would be, I've always wanted to learn more about my culture, my heritage, get to know my grandfather as a human being and as a friend, as opposed to just my grandpa. And he loves music, worked at IBM, and is very tech savvy. And so knows a lot of things about all of that stuff. And so he actually helps me when we're recording sometimes. But yeah, so we talk about music, we talk about our family, him, his advice. Sometimes we have guests on the show of my family, and also talk about his illness and help document that for other people who might be suffering with the
Yeah.
terminal lung disease and what it might look like. And we're going to be doing it up until the end. And he's like had a full life, and he's like has such a great mindset about things and doesn't have any regrets. He's accomplished everything he wants to accomplish, and he's just enjoying. So he's really happy to be doing
Yeah.
the podcast, and
I
my
think
whole
that's an
family loves it.
amazing idea for a podcast. I will say that
Oh, thank you.
having gone through losing 2 parents in the last year,
Yeah.
you people, and I just want to say this to everybody out there, you need to take advantage of those people while they're here. Not advantage, but I mean just
Yes.
be
No,
around them
no.
because
Yeah.
yeah, when they're gone, and there's nothing you can do. So I love the
Yeah.
idea of your podcast because that's something that people in the
Thank
future can
you.
look at and go like, wow, there's my great, great, great,
Yeah.
So do it.
That's exactly the thought that I had too. I was like, and then this will live on for generations to come, and
Absolutely.
people, generations that have never even met him or just have heard stories are learning about him. And it's so funny too. And what I find really gratifying about this experience is that I have people in my family who have grown up with my grandpa and my mom and my great aunts and things like that,
Yeah.
say I had no idea he did that, or I had no idea that like
Yeah.
he felt that way, or like just and laughing about all of these things, like, oh my gosh, that was such a great episode, like thank you so much for putting this out there. And
Well,
it makes me feel good and makes me
I think
feel
we'll have
like
to
that
do
I'm
another
giving back
whole
in a way.
episode about this, right? We're just definitely gonna jump
Yeah,
into
right.
that. Yeah. So think about that. All right.
Thank
Kayla,
you.
thank you for being on. I really
Thank
appreciate you.
you.
I love the
I
advice
so
and things you've
appreciate being
given
here.
people, and we'll get you back on again. Thanks a lot. Goodbye,
Yeah, thank you
everybody.
so much. Appreciate it. Bye, y'all.